But guess what? It doesn't just lead to the DNC. Folks, they are saying that there are credible evidence that it leads also to our side. There may be people within the conservative movement that were actually being paid to push against conservatism, to make us question certain people, certain things.
If the SPLC did not fund them, they would not exist. And then Democrats would lose power and the SPLC would run out of money. Now, the more you read this indictment, the more you realize how shameless it was. According to the DOJ, the SPLC was paying the same Klan members that it was complaining about by name on its website. So I got to say, as an aside, I'm starting to get a little frustrated because, again, I was also listed on their website of extremists. They put me on the list. They had my photo up and everything, and I was on their hate map as somebody who absolutely must be stopped. And yet, for all of this, I wasn't paid a single cent at any point. I served as general hate without any compensation whatsoever. Meanwhile, the KKK wizards were just like raking it in. Now, of course, all kidding aside, SPLC was not offering money to genuine conservatives who are effective at advancing conservatism. The idea was to fund and prop up the alleged right-wingers who were useful to SPLC and the left. And I suspect that soon, whether through this investigation or those to come, we're gonna find out that there are a fair number of alleged conservative figures, the most embarrassing and ridiculous ones, who've been getting paid by the forces they pretend to oppose. You know, there's a symbiotic relationship between left-wing activist groups and the supposedly right-wing grifters.
And that leads us to Tucker Carlson.
Everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. You know, we'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, but the question does present itself immediately, like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like, clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that.
Yes.
But it didn't, there are tons of people of low character who like outperform their character. It doesn't have to be
sort of the norm, actually, these days. I would say
I've outperformed my character a lot. I don't have especially high character, right? But you know, you try to whatever, you try your best. But what was this? Was this always the plan?
You know, looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was, and it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler? Like, how was it that he, and Ryan Ruth, I mean, he was subject to 2 legitimate assassination attempts. Have we ever gotten to the bottom? I know you've talked a lot about this, but have we ever gotten to the bottom of that?
I haven't talked a lot about it. I don't know the answer, but I know that those investigations have been stymied. Fact.
Yeah, stymied from the very top, from people who actually would have the power to get to the bottom of it.
And the motive.
Feeling. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Very much. So the enormous amount of money he got from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time. But, you know, there's a lot of money in politics to run for president.
Look at this. Look at this. This right here is all I had to. If this is a photo for you all who are not able to see this, of Tucker Carlson and his brother Buckley and Tucker at the studio, in fully dressed up from head to toe, and they're barefoot. And Buckley has on these flip-flops with his legs crossed. This is weird. Oh my gosh.
Okay, you know what, KJ? Let me interrupt you here. That dog is perfectly normal. The dog is a good-looking dog. He looks like a good dog, like he minds all of his orders. But everybody else in that photograph is suspect. I'm just gonna say that. They're sus as hell. They're super
And let
sus.
me say this. I'm not saying it because I have family from the islands. Men can wear flip-flops. I have no issue with that. But they're sitting there. This just looks weird. What men ask you to take a photo like this? It's weird. They just creep me out. I mean, when I saw this photo and I watched that clip, I just started itching. I was like, ooh.
I started getting the air freshener to spray.
That's what I was about to say, Shelly. It looks like it smelled like cheese in there. But I'm gonna say it's just weird because it appears to be some sort of log cabin situation. And the last thing you think of when you see a log cabin is, bare naked feet on a rug and flip-flops.
It just was bizarre.
With your khakis.
And you know what they
turned
do
up on the bottom.
Since you mentioned the dog, Nicole, you know what they do. He keeps his shoes off, he crosses his legs, and he lets the dog lick his toes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Again, KJ, you want to lay off the dog. The dog is doing a great job. It's a great dog.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for the dog. I like the dog, but the dog
American patriot dog.
The dog is licking toes.
Trump for the rest of his day. This dog looks good. He looks like a Marco Rubio supporter. He's a great dog.
So let me respond to what Tucker was saying. So Buckley, right? That's his brother's name, Buckley.
Yeah, with red face.
Tuck and Buck there. First of all, they're talking about these Muriel Adelson. Let's say this, number one. Unfortunately or fortunately, our political system does allow super PACs, lobbyists, whatever, to influence. That's exactly what it does. Good, bad, and different. They influence our politicians. That's number one. But something else he said, and I wrote it down here, that they single out Miriam Adelson and her husband. I think her husband's name is Sheldon. They've been given to Republican causes for decades, that not just for Trump, but for decades. Okay. And again, I'm across the board. We have Democrat donors, mega donors as well. They do influence. They do that. They do get access. Now, whatever else they may get, I don't know in particular, but they do. If you give money to a campaign, particularly at a super PAC level, you do want something in return. You want access, you want influence, you want your policies to be able to be discussed or debated. That is a fact. So I don't know why that was so. I don't know what his point was, but I wanted to say
the point. We know the point.
That's what I wanted to say to Tucker. Stop with your faux melodrama, like you were so important that you had the will and the wherewithal to convince everybody to vote. Nobody voted for Trump because of you, Tucker and Bucker. Or Buck, whatever your name is. Nobody voted for Trump because of that. Whether or not they want us to still support him or disagree with him, that's a whole different issue. You are not so up there. Your megalomania and your faux empathy and sympathy and your sorrow, bullshit. Okay, that's what it is. You are not that important.
Thank you, Shelly. I 100% co-sign on what Shelly said. I have two very strong suggestions. One, turn the damn light on. This is the darkest damn podcast. What are you sitting in the dark, barefoot, naked with your brother talking trash? This is ridiculous. Put the damn light on, Tucker. Put the light on. Your brother looked like Rudolph the red-faced reindeer in there. His face was so bright red because there's no light.
Oh, he probably was sipping on some whiskey or brandy. You don't get a red face like that, and I have been drinking alcohol.
He had the bottle of Smart Water on the floor next to his flip-flop. I mean,
that don't mean anything. He probably was vodka.
That might have been. You never know. But they have to get that together. And secondly, it's one thing to say, I encouraged you to vote for this candidate. This is the candidate that I'm voting for. Make your own decision, but this is the person I support. If I'm remembering correctly, that's all he did. He didn't knock any doors. I didn't see him outside anywhere knocking on doors. He certainly wasn't in Philadelphia with the rest of us. But I will say this, his hubris is gargantuan.
Yeah.
To think that just by saying, I intend to vote for Trump and you should too, some way moves America. He's the complete opposite of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, who actually helped to win, said, listen, I'm going to vote for Trump and these are the reasons why. and let people make their own decision. That's the way you do that. Nobody voted for Trump because Tucker told them to. No one voted for Trump because Megyn Kelly said to. Nobody voted for Trump because Candace said to. Again, you're entertainers. And although you think you're much more than that, you are simply an entertainer. And if you went off the air 2-3 weeks later, people would be like, what was that guy's name who had the dark podcast? He was sitting there with his brother with his shoes off. Yeah. That gap would fill in very quickly, Tuck. It really would. So please come back down to earth with the rest of the folk. And you do good work when you're wanting to do some work, but keep Trump's name out of your mouth. Make it easy for the rest of us to like you again.
Exactly. And like you mentioned, Shelley, this guy is such a liar. So we know that when he was at Fox News, the text messages that he sent were leaked, and he hated Trump. He hated President Trump. Right. He never liked him. Okay. He only acted as if he liked him because President Trump was carrying a lot of sway on the right. He won the election, in a great deal, and he was on top. Now, President Trump, it's his last term. They feel like MAGA will die after President Trump. And so now they're like vultures. They're like vultures. And he's lying. He never liked President Trump. He was only on the bandwagon because everybody was. And now he's showing his true colors because he's being paid by somebody to try to sow division on the right.
Yeah. That smug piety is what gets me, really.
Yes.
I mean, it's so fake. It's so phony, that he has such influence, and I want to apologize for that. Whatever. No, you're not all of that. I mean, fine. Talk to you and Buck, talking Buck, Fucker and Bucker and whomever else, all of you all. Just, you're not that important. Okay. You're only important in your own mind and thankfully to your families and your friends. That's about it.
Yeah. It's cringy. It really is cringy, especially when the fake piety comes along. I'm a stand-up man and blah, blah, blah. I never do this. I never do that. Come on, bro. Listen, everybody at Fox during Fox's up and coming heydays, there was a lot of partying going on at Fox, Tuck, when you were there. There was a lot of partying. There was a lot of people who started married, ended up single, ended up married to somebody else who worked at Fox. This was not, an all-girls school with nuns smacking your knuckles for doing the wrong thing. You guys were buck wild, quite literally, buck wild. You and Megyn, when that story finally comes, if somebody writes a decent movie about Fox, you're going to see it was the Wild West of conservative press. And lots of people were doing things that, lifted eyebrows, especially in conservative circles. So don't pretend now like you're the Pope. We're not doing that. You're a human being. You put your pants on one leg at a time, just like every other person. It's cringy. It makes people wonder why you think you're that way.
Exactly.
It really does.
And that's all I'm saying, folks. This is all I'm saying. I mean, don't expect us to take you seriously out here, to have you preaching serious politics while you posting barefoot selfies like you're auditioning for a midlife crisis with your toes out. Okay, all I could envision after seeing that photo is him leaning back while the dog's licking his toes, and he's and the dog is licking his toes.
You know what they say.
Yo.
That dog is not a toe licker.
Yo.
I hope not. I pray that dog is not a toe licker.